Well, CoastLife, we're always having fun here on the show, but sometimes we do need to take a little bit more of a serious route. And unfortunately, you know, the conversation that surrounds drug addiction is still a fairly taboo conversation. And I think because of that, you've got a lot of folks out there struggling that are afraid to get resources, or they don't know how to get resources. They don't really know where to start. So we brought in a special guest. We've got Matty Brown with CAMP Rehoboth, communications manager, and you guys are inviting this really incredible exhibit to our area. Why don't we dive into Light, what it is, what it stands for, and how it's reaching the community.
Absolutely. You know, like you said, addiction runs so prevalently in a lot of communities, and that's why we're really excited to host this art exhibit. It's going to be this national organization called Into Light, and we're hosting a opening reception next Friday, the 10th, from 4 to 6 p.m. And this is going to be a wonderful chance for people to come in, view the art and the storytelling. It's a national nonprofit that shares art and storytelling about people who have passed away from addiction, and including local chapters. So Into Light Delaware, we are going to host 45 framed graphite photos of Delawareans specifically who've passed away to some sort of addiction-related death. So this will be a wonderful chance because each portrait is paired with a little story about that person and who they really were. And to be able to get to know somebody and to get to know their story, you get to form that emotional connection with somebody, which ultimately leads to Into Light's bigger purpose of destigmatizing the disease.
And when you do that second part there, you were just talking about that it's going to be Delawareans, that it does localize it a little bit, it brings it a little closer to home. Does that make a difference? That
really makes a difference. You know, these might be folks that people in our communities know. So having that local touch on it and knowing that these are people who are your neighbors, who are your folks in the community, who you may pass by every day. You know, sometimes addiction is a very silent disease, so we want to make sure that we're sharing these stories to ultimately lead to a better place of compassion and understanding around it.
Camp Rehoboth does a whole bunch of things. You guys do all sorts of stuff. So when deciding where to kind of put your energy, what was the discussion like, or at least how did you decide this was something that we should be involved with?
Yeah, that's a great question. Usually, so Camp Rehoboth is an LGBTQ+ community center. Our mission is to create an environment of understanding among all people. And there's a lot of intersections that go along with that. And we know that creating a place of understanding for people who fall victim to addiction is just as important as anything. And you know, one of our pillars of our community work and programming is the arts. So be able to tell the story through our gallery space and invite these artists in, and especially to invite the families of the folks who are subjects in this upcoming exhibit will be really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, art is it's an extremely powerful tool and vessel, I think, especially for some of those heavier topics of conversation. And I think when it comes to addiction, there is often a lot of shame involved. There's a lot of hiding involved. That's why a lot of times it is a silent disease. And I think this is a great way to kind of bridge that gap between those struggling and the support system that could be involved around them. So if folks do want to check out this great exhibit that's going to be in our area, how can they do that?
They can do that. We have listed on our website at camprehoboth.org/events. Pre-registration is requested for this event, and we have some catering available, as well as a singer-songwriter, Devin Canfield, will soundtrack the evening. So we want to make sure we just have a head count on who's coming and make sure you're pre-registered for this. Is going to be a very powerful exhibit.
Makes sense to me. And how long will this exhibit be on display in case people miss the reception but they still want to check it out?
If you can't make it to with us on next Friday, this exhibit will be open through November 23rd during the community center's office hours.
Perfect. There you go. Well, Matty, thank you so much for carving some time out for us here on CoastLife. Thank you so much for Camp Rehoboth, what you guys do, and for bringing this exhibit to our area. I think it's gonna touch a lot of hearts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. Coming up on CoastLife, though, we'll be switching gears a little bit. We don't get through a Thursday without a little bit of drama. We got some wedding drama to spill on the way.